So we are back with another video. Here is the new iPhone 16 that they had just released. And here are some of the things that we can learn from it. So I did take some notes, so you guys will pretty much hear me kind of ramble on. I'm going to start off with the iPhone 16 because I think this was one of the best launches of a new regular iPhone in a long time. And as you guys can see, it does still start off at the $799 price point for the regular 6.3 inch, 6.1 or 6.3 inch, and then you have the 6.7 inch plus version, and that still starts at $899. So those are still stay the same. But with this one, obviously Apple Intelligence was going to be the biggest thing to kind of come on with it. It's like the number one feature that everybody was kind of waiting for. So here's the redesigned Siri. Now I did also want to mention that we are not going to be getting Apple Intelligence for a little while. So we're not expecting to get this till November, December time. So don't expect this to come out at launch. So it is going to be still a little bit. But the cool things about the new iPhone 16 are that the new colors. So some of the new colors I think are fantastic, and I think you guys can see it here. So one of the colors is teal. You have your ultramarine blue, which is fantastic. I also love the new interactive look that you guys can see here. And I'm going to go to the large so you guys can see it in a larger format. The new deep pink that they added, which was a phenomenal color, that I think that a lot of people are definitely going to be getting, along with a white and a black version. So this one was pretty unique. Again, Apple Intelligence was the number one thing. If you don't know about Apple Intelligence, it kind of gives you AI capabilities on your new iPhone. Pretty much like hit record in the notes section. It would use writing tools, use your priority messaging for your mail, new quick ways to do this. Now, here's the best thing they came out with. So here is camera control. Camera control allows you to quickly access any camera tool that you're looking for inside of the camera button, along with hit pictures. So there are some new features that go along with it, like the digital zoom. There's ways to also hit it for video. Light press opens up a control in your zoom. Click to launch the camera app, which is really nice. So these are all some easy ways to use the camera control feature. I also did want to mention on the new camera system is redone. So you do have a 48 megapixel fusion camera. You still have the 12 megapixel wide lens option as well, but the 48 megapixel fusion camera that's new in here lets you take macro shots, which is really great, and uses 2x optical quality telephotos and super high resolution images that lets you do more processing. That's pretty much the gist of it, along with it giving you the ability to do spatial capture. That's why you notice that the lens are back to being horizontal instead of the way they were previously, which was like shifted side to side like that. So this is an interesting option because it allows you to take spatial videos on with your Apple Vision Pro. Don't think anybody's going to spend $800 on a phone and then spend $3,000 on the Apple Vision Pro. I don't think those buyers are the same. I think that should have been reserved just for the Pro, but nonetheless, we're going to keep it moving here. Here's what a macro shot. Here's a 0.5, here's a 1x, and here's a 2x version that you could now do with the 48 megapixel fusion camera option. So really just the new mode is just macro mode, because the other three you were able to do on any other iPhone. It's just the macro mode that's kind of been newly introduced. I also wanted to do a new thing that was really cool was audio mix. So you can do this in the regular iPhone and in the Pros. So that's a really cool feature that was given. New boosted battery life. They didn't tell us how much more hours. They just said more batteries. So I don't know whether it's like much more or just a little bit. But the audio mixing is really cool because in frame you can isolate voices and get rid of the people that are off camera that may be talking during the recording. They're now gone out of it, and you can use this for the in-frame. You can also use Studio, which gives you a professionally include sound dampening walls, it feels like. And this is great for vloggers and podcasters to record sound in a close subject. To a close subject. Sorry, and cinematic captures all the voices around you and consolidates it towards only the subjects in the screen. And then photographic styles, change it any way you would like. So you can kind of see photographic styles here, and you can now use this post cut, which before you can only use it before you shot. You can use it, but now, like I said, you can use it now after, which is really nice. You can choose the style of how you like your photos to be used in, tones. Pretty much, it's really in-depth photo editing. It's pretty much that's what it gives you, is really in-depth photo editing. The A18, so we have now jumped 2 generations. They have skipped the A17, went straight to the A18. Reason being is because in order to use Apple Intelligence, you need 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you have heard me right. This will be the first iPhone with 8 gigabytes of RAM. We also have a 6-core CPU, 5-core GPU. You do have the action button that was added to the phone as well. So this has probably been the biggest upgrade that we've seen in a really long time for a regular iPhone, especially going 2 generations up on chip, along with great abilities to see how fast, and you can compare it to kind of various different phones here. And even in the iPhone 15, you're comparing a lot more because, again, it has 8 gigabytes of RAM and a more core count. So that's fantastic. And here's the battery life. Just kind of mentioned, it's also, you do have faster MagSafe charging with G2 that was given to us. So that is phenomenal there. It is 27 on video. So, and then up to 22 hours in video playback on iPhone 16. So it's not necessarily bigger. It's just, this is for video playback. And it does say it's 2 more hours of video playback more than the iPhone 15, and it's 7 more hours for video playback on the iPhone 16 Plus, which is true. But I just don't know on day-to-day uses if it's that much more. But it is a redesigned battery usage for, which is great. And here are the colors here. Strength meets style. Like I said, the pink to me and the blue looks the best. And then here's the action button that we've gotten on the iPhone 15 Pros that finally is coming down to the iPhone 16, which gives you the option to change this to silent mode. You can put it on focus, you can put it on camera, put it on flashlight, voice memo, recognize music with Shazam, translate, magnifier, control, added to a shortcut or an accessibility. And then this is just a little bit more of iPhone 18 things, but that's it for this phone here. And then let's do the iPhone 16 Pro, which I believe is going to be fantastic. Oh, and the last thing on the iPhone 16, you also get 4K 60 frames per second finally added to it. So let's get to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Obviously, this is also going to get Apple Intelligence along with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max as well. So if you do have an iPhone 15, don't worry, you will have the ability for Apple Intelligence as well, as we do have 8 gigabytes of RAM. We also do have the camera control, and a little bit of a cooler feature set is where we can do a little bit more with it. Later on, they did mention they were going to add cinematic slow motion, or 2-stage stutter to that camera feature as well, which is great. So it's going to give us the ability to frame something and keep it going and then hit it, which is great, which we don't have currently and won't have on the iPhone regular 16. Still built with titanium. As you see, you can see the new color there. The new colors are desert, black, white, and natural titanium. I do like the desert color. At first, we thought it was going to be a brown. It is not. It's definitely more of like a gold color, which I appreciate a lot. And I think this would be the iPhone to buy this year. It's going to be the iPhone color, to buy this year. It's also lighter, which is amazing. I think this is probably one of the number one things that, not the number one thing, but another good thing that they're doing. Also, these are the biggest iPhones displays ever. So you're getting 6.3 on the iPhone Pro, and then the iPhone Pro Max, you're getting 6.9 inches, which is, like I said, the largest displays they've ever done on an iPhone, which is fantastic. And then you guys can see the different colors here, which in my opinion, they look really good. And so same display, but like I mentioned before, Apple Intelligence, same as what I just mentioned in the iPhone 16. And then here's your camera control. This is still the same as on the iPhone 16. There's nothing too much different here, but a really cool thing that I don't know. Oh, here it is. You get 4K 120 hertz frames per second finally added on, which means you can take things in slow motion. They have a new feature called cinematic slow motion, along with you can do ProRes and log in 4K 120, which is fantastic. You also do get the 48 megapixel fusion camera, also in the Pro Max, which I believe we have the first generation version of this on the iPhone 15 Pro Max already. Now with the 18 Pro chip, it's just a tiny bit faster than the iPhone 16. So don't expect it to be like insanely fast or different. It is built on 3nm architecture, which is the second generation of it, which is fantastic. We also do have high quality mix here, so this is going to be fantastic. So it's going to give you studio level quality. Make sure same thing as the iPhone 16, where it gives you the ability to be standard in frame, studio, or cinematic, which is what we talked about earlier. Yes, The Weeknd's new video was shot on an iPhone, which was fantastic that we're getting artists using that. Here's the new 40 megapixel ultra wide that you will get on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So it lets you shoot huge depth, really, in a sense, because you could really capture a lot in a 48 megapixel camera. So that's kind of like unique in that sense, where we finally get a second 48 megapixel camera. Fantastic. It's great if you want to take high resolution, like I mentioned in Pro RAW, but you really want it zoomed very out in a macro sense. It will give you as much exposure as possible. And you can kind of play with the focal lengths here. Or if you want to shoot in a macro sense, you can shoot at a subject here. So more zoom, you can now shoot 120 millimeters, which is 5 times photo length, which I believe we have currently now. So that doesn't change there, but it is really cool that we have a 48 megapixel ultra wide, because now when you do shoot up closer, it's going to be more clear. That's good. Again, photographic styles is back. Like on the iPhone 16, you can now do a post edit, which you were not able to do previously to this. The iPhone 18 Pro, same 6 core. Now you do get 6 core GPU, which was different. Before it was only 5. So now we have 1 more core GPU than we do on the iPhone 16. So you do get about a little bit more performance, not a whole lot, but it is faster. And here we go with comparing it to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So it's 20% faster and 15% faster. So good amount, just not great. Now, I did want to mention that the heat dissipation is going to be a lot better. If you don't know about that, the iPhone 15 Pro Max and Pros have a horrible overheating problems, which Apple has fixed with a better battery solution. So that's fantastic, along with a larger battery. So we will have longer battery times, which was very needed on the iPhone 15, as it was very power hungry chip. And here's the game mode for it, but with accelerated ray tracing, we already have that on the iPhone 17 Pro as well. So you get up to 4 more hours of battery life, which is fantastic, which is actually one that we actually needed, because I believe it's just something that was really more helpful. So on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, you now have, for comparing the iPhone 15 Pro Max to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, you have 4 more hours of video playback on the iPhone 15. And then if you go to the Pro, 4 more hours on the iPhone 16 Pro. So that wasn't even the best of the best. There are some other things that came out as well, like exploring the AirPods lineup. So the AirPods Pro 4, here are the new AirPod Pro 4s. I don't know what, here you go. So there's two versions of them, like kind of what we thought previously, that they were going to split the line into two. So they were going to get rid of the AirPods 2 and 3. They're no longer going to sell those. It's only going to be AirPods 4 and AirPods 4 with active noise cancellation. I call it the AirPods 4 Enhanced because it gives you the pretty much the exact same features as the AirPods Pro 2. Just with the active noise cancellation being the same as the one, but they still get the adaptive audio, transparency mode, personalized spatial audio with head tracking movements, which is the same. You do get the hearing test. They all get the H2 chips, which is amazing. They're all going to get USB-Cs, all going to be small cases for the AirPods 4 and the AirPods 4 Enhanced, and the AirPods 4 Enhanced does have a speaker in it for Find My. It obviously doesn't get active noise cancellation, transparency mode, adaptive audio, which is fine. So that's kind of the new things here for the new AirPods. I wish they would come with a new color, but they're stubborn in that sense. But we did get new AirPods Max announcement where it was just updated USB-C and given new colors. That was it. This was the worst update in history. I'm going to say this now that it's not going to sell, and I believe that this is probably going to be something that they don't move forward with. I think they're just going to keep Beats as the option for over-ear headphones. I think they are going to eventually axe the AirPods Max with just how little effort they put into it. But that's just my analysis on that. And then let's go to the watch, which was very interesting to see. The new Apple Watch Series 10, thinner than ever has been, which is fantastic. I know I have great notes on this as well. That was really interesting. So you now have the largest display ever. It's first ever wide angle OLED. You also will get 40% battery life along with the biggest display ever. They didn't really mention the display size. They said it was going to be bigger than the Apple Watch Ultra, which is interesting. So I'm curious to see what the actual size is. Faster charging, so for an 80% battery in 30 minutes, which is fantastic. You do have, like I mentioned, the wide angle OLED. You now have a newer side bezel that you can add to it. So you can kind of see the 7, 8, and 9 has the anodized and satin color. Well, this is going to be a glossy color. This is the first glossy that they have ever done on a pair of watch. And so this is going to be interesting to see what they mean by that. And yep, the new color that everyone is talking about, which is the new jet black. There's also the rose gold color, which won't be as glossy, and the silver. So the only color that gets the gloss is going to be the jet black. Now they did add a titanium finish to it. That's going to come in multiple different finishing colors. So you can get natural, gold, and slate gray as the colors for the titanium option. And the cool things about this one is that you do get a little bit more workouts in that they added. You can use snorkeling. You can use the new Tides app. These are all things that are going to be tied only to the Apple Watch Series 10. And funny enough, I thought they were going to use the X like they did with the iPhone, but I think they learned a lesson from that one, and they're just going to stick with the number 10. So you can kind of see just a little bit more of what it is. They didn't too much give us more specs. I'm curious to see on the size what the actual size is because they just never mentioned it. But okay, here it is. So it is 42 millimeters, so that still stays the same. And now you also have the 46 millimeters. And like I mentioned, you could get titanium or the aluminum. I don't see many people getting the titanium as it's so much more money than the aluminum. So if it was me, obviously I'm going to get the new jet black color. It's the brand new color to get, right? You can get it in 42 or 46. I would get it at 46. So I don't really see it being that much bigger than the Apple Watch Ultra, which did see an update of only changing its color, and I'll detail that in a second. But the band, you can get rubber. I probably wouldn't get rubber though. I seen it and I was like, I think sport loops are the best to get. Braided or Nike is the one I would say is the best. Stainless steel options would be like a link bracelet, which is always really nice and classy. But that's kind of it for the Apple Watch. Some interesting things, but nothing too different, I would say, on that end. And you guys can see what I mean by this is the only change that they made to the Apple Watch Ultra, was that they finally added satin black and allowed you to do offline maps for trails. And it's nothing else. So it's just interesting that they haven't really given us anything new in a while. I'm going to guess next year is definitely going to be the Apple Watch 3, and they're going to give us something pretty big time, I'm going to guess. So if you kind of kept up with the Apple Watch Ultra line, the Apple Watch Ultra 1 and 1 again were kind of for 2 years, and then 2 years of the Apple Watch Ultra 2, I guess you could say. Still waiting to know why they decided to do that, and they don't update it every year. I guess they just haven't found anything or design change to make that a difference. We'll see going forward what they decide to do. But that was the Apple event. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. So I'll let you guys know my review and thoughts on some of the items when they come out on September 20th. So if you want to pre-order some of these items, I believe some of them are today, but the iPhones are for Friday. So make sure on Friday that you place your order if you do want one. These are going to sell out fast, quick, and a hurry.